These dudes are crazy, man. Tim Hasselbeck going on national TV, attempting to blast, absolutely annihilate Shedeur Sanders is absolutely ridiculous. Tim Hasselbeck, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. This dude said that the league knows that Shedeur Sanders is nothing more than a backup quarterback and all of this stuff. It's just crazy, man. We got to get into what Tim Hasselbeck had to say about Shedeur Sanders. It's nasty work, man. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, hype the video. Let's get right into things, man. Tim Hasselback, you did bad, bro. You did real bad. This is nasty work all the way around the board. These dudes continue to expose themselves. You know what I mean? You put a camera and a microphone in front of them, and they are going to expose themselves. And that is exactly what Tim Hasselback just did. Let's get to the footage.
Former NFL quarterback Tim Hassleback, what he sees from Shedeur Sanders, including his future in the NFL.
I think there are things he does at the position extremely well that you need to be able to do well to play in the National Football League. I actually think, that's the good side of it. I think the bad side of it for him, I just think physically there are limitations that he has as a player that don't know that anyone is building around that. Could he end up, playing in the league for 10 years, in some role as a backup and then maybe get an opportunity to play? Sure, he could. But I don't think that anybody, listen, there isn't a single team of the 32 that would look at him right now and be like, yep, I want to build around that guy. It's not, I'm not saying that to be demeaning or mean. That is the reality of who he actually is as a player and how he is viewed, quite frankly, consensusly around the league.
Spencer, again, that's a former quarterback, and the reason I state that is he knows what he's looking at. He knows what the position entails. I don't necessarily disagree with him. I think there's some things there if you can clean up, maybe. What are your thoughts? Are we looking at? Is there a world where both Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel are not on the Browns roster?
I think probably one of the two is still here, and I'll explain that here in a second. But what I would say about those comments and others like it where people are just trying to say, Todd Monken shouldn't tie himself to Shedeur Sanders or it's time to move on from Shedeur Sanders or whatever. I think people are kind of missing the big picture part of this for the Browns. What options do they realistically have right now? And you could always say the draft. You could always say maybe they fall in love with somebody in the draft and they draft another quarterback, and I could buy that. But at the same time, it's like if they're trying to sort of put a competent offense together here in year one, and maybe they're not in position to get the top tier quarterbacks or quarterback, because in this class it certainly feels like it's Fernando Mendoza, big gap than everybody else. But if they're not in position to get one of those guys, then yeah, maybe you do try to sort of punt this year, get sort of just a stopgap guy, or figure it out for a year until you can maybe figure out exactly what you're looking for in 2027. So that could play out in the draft process. But aside from that, it's the names I've heard are Mac Jones. Well, you got to trade for Mac Jones. Malik Willis, he's probably the top guy in terms of names in free agency. Do the Browns have the cap space? I always like to not overreact to salary cap situations because everyone's always like, oh, they have no cap space, and then we see the cap go up as much.
Here's the thing. There's only one thing from here that can change the narrative on Shedeur, and that is winning the quarterback job this summer, and that is playing better than he did as a rookie.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for the next 6 or 7 months, there's nothing he can do.
Yes.
It's out of his hands. I'm sorry. You made this bed for better or worse, and now you got to lie in it, and this is just the reality. And do I think he'll overcome this? Time will tell if he'll overcome this, but yeah, as of right now, there's nothing you can do for the next 6 or 7 months in order to change Hasselbeck's opinions or anybody else's opinions when it comes to if they were a hater before, they haven't moved off that.
So it's tough for me to call Tim Hasselbeck a hater. I just think he was an opportunist. I think he was using Shedeur as an easy stanchion to make a statement that can be made. Part of my problem yesterday with Shedeur was what Shedeur went through last year, outside of the 4-quarterback room, but what Shedeur went through was a pretty typical 5th-round pick kind of lifestyle. And I understand that's humbling, but welcome to the NFL. My thing with Tim Hasselbeck is, okay, you're not going to talk about you would be talking about this with any other 5th-round pick, whether he's a quarterback, Shedeur, or a damn center.
Yeah, but so the problem though, or the difference is that any other 5th-round pick doesn't get talked about on ESPN on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Like any other 5th-round pick, and this is the difference. And I think that Shedeur was trying to emphasize is that like the part of his life that is different is that the attention that gets put on him and the conversations that get put on him, and then everything associated with it is not that of a 5th-round pick or someone that only played 7 games in his rookie season. It just isn't. It's not of anybody unless you're, I don't know, one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. You get talked about the same way that Shedeur gets talked about.
Now, what I think is interesting is, again, because we're talking about perception. Because other than that, we're talking about 7 games.
Yeah, and it's tough because, like, what can he do? Come out and say he's confident and arrogant or whatever you want to say? Like, I mean, he's going to have confidence in himself, but, like, Shedeur Sanders having confidence isn't going to change Hasselbeck's opinion about what he can and cannot do on the football field.
But I do think what's interesting is, and I thought it was a fair perception for the supporters out there who said he's not getting a fair chance or he's not getting any chance compared to what Dillon Gabriel got and Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. That's fair. Like the early returns were Shedeur got morsels and everybody else who, as they struggled mightily in their more expansive reps, while Shedeur did a very good job that we all saw in camp in limited reps, like I understood that. That was fair. And the Stefanski stuff was fair until Kevin kind of embraced him once he started starting. Like there was so much of the perceptional things that I did agree with on how Shedeur was talked about. I am curious how Shedeur supporters now feel about this chance going forward.
Well, he's got a chance. Is I think the big idea.
Oh, see, that's interesting because I haven't sussed it out or read it out yet because I think you will get as fair of a chance as you're going to get in the NFL with Todd Monken because it's not like Todd's going to look here and go, well, I got so many other options I can just kick you out the door for.
So as of right now, Monken seems like a breath of fresh air, right? Like Monken is not Stefanski, so that's a good thing. There's a leg up just in the idea that you're going to have somebody that isn't Stefanski in charge. I think that's number one. Number two on this, though, is the idea that he did just enough. It's not like he blew everyone's socks off with how he played, but he did just enough to showcase to people that if he ended up winning the starting job next year, no one in the NFL is going to be surprised by it. In that same conversation, though, the job is nowhere close to being done. Like, it's just a competition. Like, they're the same world where Shedeur gets to start week 1 next year and never lets up the job and is just off to the races and is great. There's another world that exists out there where a different quarterback comes in, beats out Shedeur for the job, and then we don't see Shedeur be a starter for years with an S. Like, that's the weird part about being a Shedeur supporter right now, is as talented as you can think he is, he didn't do enough to close the conversation shut on any other quarterbacks coming in.
I just think what's interesting about that, like the Browns quarterback room with Shedeur, Deshaun, and Dillon right now today is interesting. They can make it more interesting by signing Malik Willis and trading Dillon Gabriel. My point is, it's not a great quarterback room in terms of what your expectations are going to be off of based off what happened as recently.
Right, sure, yeah.
But yet it's incredibly interesting because you could be incredibly aggressive and replace 2 or 3 of the guys in that room this offseason, or you could just say, we're going to be aggressive at every other part here, and we're just going to let the quarterback thing play itself out.